Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the GoBCOMM. My name is Krim, and this is going to be the first video I produce and put out on my channel. Now, this channel is dedicated towards a variety of different things, including technology, entertainment, just things I want to talk about in video games. And today, we've got some stuff to talk about, and I want to jump right into that. Now, if you guys have any suggestions on how I can improve the quality of these videos or this channel for your viewing pleasure, please drop it in the comments section. I will definitely check it out, and I'll do the best that I can to make that possible for you. For now, though, we're going to jump into some video game news, because I have something juicy, and I'm sure you're all going to love this. Destiny, folks. It's so good, and it's back, and it's surprised us even more. So Destiny was one of the most anticipated games, I would argue, for this generation of consoles. It was being developed by Bungie, the previous developers for the Halo franchise, one of the most, I would say, popular video game franchises in the industry, and it really hasn't lived up to its anticipation. And a matter of fact, it keeps getting worse, in my opinion. Now, I was an early adopter of the game. I did everything I could to put myself in this game, become immersed, become really enthralled with what the game was trying to give to me. What ended up happening is it slowly died out, and it came to a crawl, and it was anticlimactic. And overall, I just didn't enjoy the game. Now, I've dropped a lot of money into this game. I have not spent any money on the in-game microtransactions, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But in regards to purchasing the game as a physical game, I bought both the Ghost Edition of Destiny, which was $150, and I bought the I can't even remember the name of the third expansion, the one with Oryx. I bought the limited edition physical copy of that. See, that's how just forgettable this game has become to me. And I've tried to get back into it, and I've tried to play it. I've invested so much time into this game, folks, and there were just no benefits to it, and it came to the point where I couldn't deal with it anymore and had to drop out. But I'm kind of glad that I did, and here's the reason why. Over time, they began to implement microtransactions into the game. You could purchase an in-game fake currency called silver with real money, and then purchase a variety of in-game things with silver. Now, you would purchase these boxes with silver, which would give you armor and ships and aesthetic-related stuff, but also sort of important stuff that you might want in the game. It wasn't game-changing. You could buy emotes, which were aesthetics, and the boxes that you could buy that gave you armor and stuff like that would come naturally in the game. Every week you would get one in the mail system in the game. You could also acquire them through a variety of different challenges in the game. But you could also purchase them with money, and that was very concerning to a lot of the people in the game, especially since this game is sort of MMO-like. And when you have a game that is connected amongst many players, and you give a certain demographic of them the opportunity to financially benefit from the game by spending more money, money that some people may not have to spend on the game, money that people shouldn't really have to spend on the game, you ultimately diversify the community, and it makes people upset, and that's reasonable. I'm not saying that implementing microtransactions is always a bad thing. If this game were completely free to play, I could see it being a reasonable way to fund the game while actively enjoying it at my own pace and at my own choosing, but it depends how you do it, and generally, it's never done correctly. It creates inherent pacing problems, and I feel like it's just an overall corrupt system that allows the publishers and developers to abuse their demographics. No matter how much money I spent on the physical copies of these games, I never, ever got what I needed. For example, even after purchasing the limited edition copy of the Oryx DLC, I don't even remember the name of it, I was still left out of a lot of the in-game rewards for things like the Infinity Quests, where like you could get a friend and play through parts of the campaign as long as they had a new game, and you would both get like a new sparrow and some shaders and some aesthetic stuffs. Like, why was that not included in the rest of everyone else's game experience? For me spending that kind of money, for me investing the amount of time and money that I did into the game, I never felt like I received any sort of compensation, any sort of thanks or appreciation for that. There was always this sort of, okay, well, now you have to go and spend more money just to enjoy this. And I was done with it. They've done it again, though. And this is kind of interesting. In the game, you can still purchase silver. You can still reap the rewards of aesthetic changes. You could get small, I would argue, in-game upgrades in regards to transportation and armor and all sorts of different things. But now, and this is just beautiful, they've included XP boosts in the microtransaction store. Now, you can obtain these XP boosts in a variety of ways without having to go through the store. But we're now talking about this problem where you can enable a part of your game's demographic to be more advantageous in receiving benefits for spending more money than others might be. And this is, again, extremely upsetting now that they are releasing a new DLC for the game. On top of releasing this new DLC, which I imagine it's going to cost somewhere in the ballpark of $20 to $30. I haven't done my research. I don't care about it, to be quite truthful. But it could be somewhere in the ballpark of $20 to $30. It may be $15. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to look it up. I don't really care. After releasing this DLC, there's still going to be more things in this game that you should purchase to continuously advance yourself. And I feel like a lot of the player base are going to see that as just a backstab, a betrayal of their commitment to Bungie's game. Because why should they have to? Why is the pacing of this game now being implemented in the microtransaction system? And it's interesting because this is a game that's gone through multiple stages of release. You've had the initial game release with 3 different editions of the game. You've had the season pass. You've had DLC, which included its own special edition, which was $80. $80 fucking dollars for this DLC. And on top of that, you have another DLC coming out. And it hasn't even been that long. And on top of that, you now have a microtransaction store, and you can purchase in-game XP boosts. It just doesn't seem right. And I don't know if it ever will. But let's get into some of the things that you can use these XP boosts for. So for 100 silver, I don't know the conversion rate for dollar to silver, but for 100 in-game silver, I'll put some of this information up on screen as well for you folks, because I haven't done any research. I just heard about this. I'm pissed off. I wanted to make a video. Get my voice out there. For 100 silver, you can purchase reputation gains. And these reputation gains are XP boosts. Basically, it allows you to acquire more XP over a certain number of time for different things in the game. And those include Crucible, which is your matchmaking, your competitive multiplayer. The House of Judgment, which is a cooperative PvE part of the game. And your Vanguard reputation. All these reputations allow you to acquire different things in the game. As you upgrade your Crucible, you'll acquire the ability to purchase things within the Crucible store as opposed to the Vanguard store. And it's the same way for the House of Judgment. So on top of not even being able to continuously gain XP boosts over a variety of different parts of the game, you have to purchase them separately, and they cost 100 silver each. Now, Lords of Iron, which is the new DLC that's releasing, will drop on September 20th. It seems unnecessary to me. I even have a problem. I have a problem with the microtransactions in this game overall. There shouldn't ever be a reason for a full-priced game with a multi-edition release, may I mind you, with the anticipation of this AAA game developed by very professional game developers. I don't know. It seems a bit abusive to the community, to people who supported the game. And I think that the irony of it is that out of all of this, there really isn't that much content in the game. For the most part, what I can tell is, as I was playing the game, what controlled the amount of time that I put into it was the lack of ability to control the output of the reward system. there was a constant amount of trial and error in going into a situation where you would challenge yourself to simply get a reward that you already had. And to advance further into the game, you would need to receive something that was necessary to do that. There is no completing this. This game is designed psychologically to provide you with endless amounts of content based off of your continuous ambitions to acquire something that, let's face it, folks, in the end probably isn't worth it. I've given up on this game wholeheartedly. I've tried multiple times to get back into it. I can't do it. Every time I get into it, I just think this is a ridiculous amount of time. I could be doing something. So, that's Destiny. That's the news for that. I hope you guys enjoy it. For those of you who are looking forward to the release, I hope it does provide you with the content that you want. I know a lot of you have put a lot of time into the game, and I understand why you have. It was fun. It genuinely was fun. But at the same time, it's really sad to see the community being treated like that. So, good luck to everyone playing that game. Let's move on to the next story. So, the PlayStation event was held during the Apple event and was heavily overshadowed by that event, too. I didn't even notice that the Sony event was happening on that day at that time till at the end of the day, which kind of sucks because I was actually looking forward to it. I just wasn't paying attention. And I think a lot of people were looking forward to it because we're sort of getting in this weird transitional phase with this generation of consoles. And what I mean by that is specifically we're hitting this point where the performance and computing power of our consoles is not keeping up with the ambitions of both game creators and developers and the community who wants to game, and hardcore gamers themselves. Scorpio is going to be an upcoming console. I don't know if it's going to be an upgrade or if it's going to be a brand new console. I don't know what it is. Nobody does yet. And on top of that, so is Nintendo's new console. It's going to be announced pretty soon. And so PlayStation having their foot in the door with this announcement very early is a good thing. However, what content was in their announcement, their press conference, has a lot of people concerned, including myself. And there's a number of reasons why. And let's go ahead and jump right into that. So the PS4 Pro is heavily focused on 4K gaming. Now that's great if you own a 4K TV. And if you own the right 4K TV, which is something that Richard from Digital Foundry pointed out while he was talking about his experience at the press conference and with the console that he saw. And the way he explained it and what he meant by that is, even if you own a 4K TV, to receive benefits from this console, you're going to need to own a 4K TV that is HDR compatible and very well at producing images with HDR. And for those of you who don't know what HDR is, it means high dynamic range. It provides you with what I believe is a better color palette. It's more vibrant, it's more realistic, it simulates light in a way that makes your eyes feel like they're looking at the actual real image. That's all great, but there's a lot more to gaming than image quality, and that's all this console focuses on, is image quality. And they do that by utilizing 4K, which is the next thing we're going to talk about, but just in a moment. What I mean by there's more than just image quality to a video game is that with the computing power that's going to be put into this console, all you're benefiting from is 4K resolution with HDR gaming. They did talk about super sampling, which is nice, but where are the frames at? That was, I feel, the biggest problem with this generation, is that at the beginning of it, games immediately reached their limit. Some games couldn't perform well on the Xbox One. Other games, like Assassin's Creed, just didn't perform well anywhere, which I'm not going to blame the console makers for that. But having better performance in your console can dampen how that really is affected by the game. And I believe that was more of a CPU problem at the time. There were so many AIs on screen on Unity that it's a wonder that my console didn't explode. But we want more performance power out of these consoles, and that was something that I feel a lot of people have made clear, and that's why they're pursuing these sort of upgraded consoles, both PlayStation and Xbox. But this isn't really what we wanted. And the bigger problem is that this console doesn't even come with the technology that someone who wants a 4K media device would want. It doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray optical drive on a 4K aimed device. Why? On a Sony device, even that just doesn't make any sense. But the biggest problem is the confusion. There's a lot of professionals in the industry who are saying that with the technology they're utilizing in this console to produce images at the quality that they're saying they're producing them at doesn't make too much sense. And we're getting these mixed sort of results in regards to whether or not this console is rendering in 4K or is upscaling to 4K. I don't know which is happening. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to take the time to look into it too deep. The fact that there is confusion over this is my biggest problem. At the press conference, they should have said deliberately to their audience, hey, this is rendering in 4K, or hey, this is upscaling in 4K. It didn't say that at all. They gave us a tech demo of Andromeda, and the game director was just like, you're not going to benefit from this if you're not watching this in 4K. I didn't benefit from it at all. I sort of got the gist of what they were trying to say, but once again, image quality is not the only aspect to gaming. It's nice. It really is. It's like having beautiful rims on a car that drives really fast, but this car does not drive very fast. So I'm a little bit concerned with that, especially in wake with Scorpio, which I don't think Scorpio is even going to be an upgrade, which is what I would consider the PlayStation 4 Pro to be. It is an upgrade. It is cheap. In comparison to the release cost of the PlayStation 4, it comes with everything that the PlayStation 4 is packed with, just with smaller upgrades. Scorpio, on the other hand, is not looking like an upgrade. It's looking like a full-fledged next-gen console that's compatible with current software. And that's kind of nice. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't mind spending money on something that's going to do better, but it means that I'm going to have to invest in the competitors of a console that I already own, and that just further diversifies my gaming experience and sort of makes it a bit unpleasant. So, a message to Sony: we want better performance. There are so many things in games to focus on, whether it be anti-aliasing, which you are doing that, tessellation, ambient occlusion, isotropic filtering, tessellation, and most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, 60 FPS. That is extremely important to us. That's what we want. That's what we need. Not just in first-person shooters, just as a form of quality. Higher FPS. I want smooth gameplay. And I'm talking exclusively in video games. With an artificial image, you want that. That's a necessity. So that is the PlayStation 4 Pro. My concerns over it, I don't know. I probably won't be picking one up. I don't have a 4K TV. I don't have a 4K HDR TV. And I don't have a 4K Blu-ray drive either. So picking up this console just means I'm going to have to buy more stuff. And I'm not really down for that. We're also going to talk a little bit about mods. Because why not? So I would argue that this is a big problem simply because mods were a big selling point for Skyrim and for Fallout. And now they're not happening on PlayStation. Now, the only thing I can suggest is that if you agree with me on this, you make your voice heard. Because, and I'll talk about this later, but consumer rights is really important. And you need to sort of make your voice heard for anything to change. Sony sees this as an opportunity for them to control the content on their network, which they most certainly have the right to, by not allowing mods to be produced in the way that game developers might want them produced for console. And that, like I said, that's their right. Sony owns the network. If they don't want mods in a certain way on their network, that's their choice. But ultimately, you're the consumer. And you decide whether or not you want to install a mod. You decide how you want to play your game. And the only thing I can suggest is that everyone make that clear to Sony if you want mods on your console. Now, I'm not a big modder. I don't really like modding. I think it's a bit damaging, and I prefer to really go through an experience as it's truly presented by the game developers. But I understand modding, and I think it's a very creative outlet for a lot of the community. And I think it's a really nice way for the community to say, okay, you gave us a game, we'll give you some more content. And so I can understand why people are excited for mods, and it's a shame that they're not coming to PlayStation 4. This sort of similar thing happened with Nintendo and Splatoon. They didn't allow voice chat. Once again, I'm an adult. I'm a gamer. That is my right to choose. Alright? If I'm offended by what other people are saying, I'll disable my game chat. I have no problem with that. But give me the right to at least communicate with players in a shooter. This is the same thing on PlayStation. Give me the right to choose whether or not I want to install a game mod. That's simply what it comes down to. If it damages my game, I take that responsibility. I take that. That is something I will acknowledge. It's the same thing with early access. If the game is crap, I'll take the responsibility. It's my money. You know, we do the same thing for pre-orders. We can control the output of what we want as consumers. You don't need to mess with everything. So, if you really want mods, and I completely understand if you do, make your voice heard. I definitely support mods. So, that's just another thing, though, that Sony has done that's really upset a lot of people. Alrighty, on to the next story. Alright, everyone. For the last story for today, I have two new 3DSs. Yep. I was able to get through that. I said it. I did it right. I hate Nintendo for naming that thing the new 3DS. Either way, there are two new designs for the new 3DS, and I'm not talking about the Galaxy. There are two new Pokemon designs. There's one that's a Pikachu design. It's adorable, but as far as I can see, it's exclusive to Japan, which that really sucks. And then there's a Sun and Moon design. And that one is actually coming to North America. You can pick that up at GameStop. You can pre-order it now on their website. That's really it for that. I mean, I wanted to end on a happy note. You know, I'm tired of being cynical for now. As it sits with the channel, I'm not for sure where this is going to go. This is sort of just like a pilot video. See where things are, see how I can get things done. So far, it's taken me a day to produce this video. And design the thumbnail, and on top of that, I'm not even sure how I want to stick to the aesthetic of the channel. That's always something I can change later, which is why I want to get the video out now. Using the video editing program that I downloaded is a bit rough. I'm still new to it, so please excuse the lack of traditional like black fades. I don't know how to add those yet. Excuse all the text and really just all the flaws and imperfections that are with the video. I'm so sorry about that. I will do my best to educate myself on how to use it. I've deleted my project like 4 times now, and it's been real rough. Also, on top of that, acquiring footage to put in the background has been really difficult. What I may start doing is recording video, putting it onto my laptop, and then running that video through the entirety of my video segments. And that could be anything from Minecraft to Doom. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might resort to that, and that'll be up in text in the next video if I do, because getting videos off the internet is a little bit challenging right now, and also a bit time consuming. So we'll see. I'm aiming to have another video out by the beginning of next week. Today is a Thursday, so sometime around Sunday or Monday. News related video. I don't know if I'm going to do an LP. I'm thinking I might, just to sort of like get some more content out on the channel. It's just something better, you know, something that I think I can relax to rather than be so stressed out on trying to edit videos like this. Either way, we'll see where this goes. Please leave a comment in the comments section on how I can improve, whether or not you guys like this, and also leave me a question. What do you think about any news-related stuff happening in the games industry or technologies industry? Leave a question. I might respond to it in the next video and use it as a subject, so that is always a pretty decent way to get the community involved with the videos as well. Alrighty, I'm going to head out. You guys take it easy. See you next time.